Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. I am Martina Lily and today we are putting to the test the new Natasha Denona Midi Golden Palette. You know, I'm going to do in-depth swatches for you guys. I'm going to do a heap of comparisons with the OG gold palette from her, plus some other palettes that I think, you know, maybe some pat palettes and stuff I've seen you guys request. So it's going to be a really in-depth swatch section and then we will do a look with the palette. So hopefully that sounds interesting to you guys. If it does, go ahead and do the YouTubey things, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get started. Before we zoom in and create a look together, I'm going to give you guys the quick details of the palette. I also picked up the gloss as well, and then we will do swatches and then we'll do a look. There will be timestamps in case you're only interested in certain parts, and all of the products that I use today will be linked in the description box down below for you guys. They are affiliate links though, so if you shop through them, thank you so much. So this is the Natasha Denona Midi Golden palette, and mine is really beaten up. You will see it completely untouched in the swatches at the beginning. I have like done a heap of swatches with this already. So this is the Midi Golden palette, and this is part of the gold collection family. So the original gold palette was this one right here. This one is just straight gold palette, and this is one of the bigger palettes and the bigger pans, and there are actually quite a few repeat shades which I'll get into shortly between these two palettes. So this is the Midi Golden palette, so it's not an exact replica of this in the Midi form, and then you do have the mini gold palette as well, which I will swatch in comparison. But this one, I don't believe there are any repeat shades. No, there are not in this with either of the other palettes. So just for context of how this kind of fits in. The palette itself is the 69 USD, or it's about 125 Australian dollars. You can pick it up pretty much anywhere now, so that'll all be linked down below. If you want to pick it up off the Natasha Denona website as well, you can use the code Martina Lily for 15% off should you wish. And then I also picked up the Golden Glimmer Plumping Gloss, this one right here. This one was 29 USD and it's about 53 Australian dollars. So quickly, the details of this one. It is made in Italy. It has a 36-month expiry and it's just a gold shimmer plumping gloss. That is kind of the description. And that is the swatch right there. And I will tell you shortly when we zoom in my thoughts on this gloss, because I definitely have thoughts. Just like her usual palettes, this one is made in Italy, 24-month expiry, and it has a different variation of formulas in here, just like most of her palettes. So you have a cream to powder matte, for example, you have the new wet sparkling formula, you have the new sparkling foiled formula, or just the sparkling formula, plus the traditional matte formula and the traditional metallic formula. Now you have a lot of repeat shades in here, and in my swatches I have got two photos of all of the matte shades that are duplicates in this palette to the gold palette, and as well as the metallics, so that you can see them side by side and see exactly how much of the same shade they are. I will say, swatching the matte formulas, like not the cream to powder mattes but the straight matte powders in here to the OG gold palette, the OG gold mattes do feel a lot more buttery, if you will, than these ones. Apart from these two, which are more of like a cream to powder matte, they feel delightful. Also, don't mind if mine look hard panned. It's because I do so much swatching and like have to rub, like, you know, I use wet towels like to wipe the makeup off. If I haven't fully dried my hand, it'll make it slightly hard panned. That's a me thing, not a palette thing, trust me. And it lifts completely easily, like once I put a brush in there. But yeah, these ones don't feel as buttery and velvety and just creamy like the straight mattes do in the gold palette. I will say they do feel a bit more luxurious. Whether or not the formula is different, I don't know. That's just going off pure speculation. Well, not speculation, but pure feel for me. But we'll see whether or not these perform differently on the eyes. I've actually been using my big gold palette quite a bit recently, like off camera, because I haven't been having time to film or anything. So I've just been, you know, playing with makeup in my own time. And I've been playing with that quite a bit. So I actually know how I feel about the gold palette. So I will be interested to see how this compares. So Let's go ahead now and swipe into the swatches. So I've done like the full arm swatches, the up close like torchlight swatch, the individual hand swatches of the palette, and then I'll swipe into pictures of like full arm swatch comparisons of the gold palette versus the golden and the mini gold, and then I'll swipe into the duplicate shades with the palette so you can see them, and then any other comparison pics that I want to show you guys. So that will all be in the swatch part, and then when you come back we're gonna put it to the test. So let's get into it. Alright, you guys are zoomed in now. We're going to do a look. Hopefully those swatches were helpful. The biggest difference, I guess, between these two for me is that this one reminds me a lot of, say, the bronze palette. Well, maybe not even so much the bronze, but the bronze Midi palette, in the sense of a lot of the shades feel so same but different. Whereas with the bigger gold palette, it does have these kind of like greeny tealy colors in here and like this Dijon mustardy shade, which I think allows you to create quite a few different looks with the bigger gold palette and have some diversity. Whereas I do feel like a lot of your looks with this Midi one is going to have a very similar theme or a very similar vibe to them. You can incorporate other palettes and stuff like that, but if you're just constantly sticking to the one palette, I do feel like it's probably not going to have an incredible amount of dimension, but that might not be an issue for you whatsoever. I don't know if she's going to bring back that larger gold palette, by the way. I have a feeling it's probably discontinued and done now, which is a shame because I actually would have liked to have seen at least the sparkly greeny shades from the gold palette in here as repeats, because I do think that they were the shades that were like extra special in the big gold palette, but maybe she is going to bring it back. So I'm going to prime my lids with my Sigma eye primer, which is the one that I am just constantly loving at the moment. I already have glitter everywhere because not only was I swatching this palette, I was also swatching the new Glimmer singles, and so there's just glitter already everywhere, even though I've tidied up. So I'm actually getting ready because I have a date night tonight, so I'm gonna create a look with that in mind. I'm gonna start with a Ray Morris number 7, and I want to go into Panna right here because it just feels like that velvety buttery cream to powder matte, and I love a cream to powder matte from Natasha. You might not, but for me it is one of my faves. And I'm gonna start by wiggling this through the crease. And I know you guys will want to see a 3 looks minimum 1 palette with this. I'll be honest, I don't have the capacity right now to do that. Those videos take really a lot of time, and I don't have that capacity right now. So I will incorporate it in other videos coming up, don't worry, but I can't do a 3 looks 1 palette right now, I'm sorry. But I will be using this quite a bit and testing it like for rankings and stuff coming up and all that. So keep an eye on my Instagram because I usually post my like makeup of the day over on there as well. So you can see like different looks, and I'll probably use this a bit on my members channel just when I'm getting ready for work. I usually film me going live over there just spontaneously. So yeah. Which the link is down below if you're interested. No pressure, just if you're interested. Picking up a Refy number 27. Let's now go into Aria right here, which is just a straight matte. And Aria is also in the big gold palette as well. And I'm just going to start again by softly working this through the crease. I've been testing so many cream shadows lately that it's funny using a matte shadow. This won't be too full on of a look, I've got to be honest, because I don't feel like that at the moment. I've been going through a softer eyeshadow vibe lately. So I'm going to tuck this into the outer corner here as well. The matte is performing lovely. I do think that this isn't, and look, this could very much just be my opinion, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not a makeup artist or anything. I do think the mattes in the bigger gold palette are a bit more luxurious, a bit nicer. Not dramatically, these are still lovely, but these just feel drier in comparison to them. I was actually really annoyed. I filmed this beautiful like shot my stash with the gold palette, and I really loved how the look turned out. And I thought I uploaded the footage to my hard drive to edit it, and I mustn't have done it properly, and I cleared the card before checking it, and I didn't upload it and I lost the footage and I was so upset. But yeah, anyway. You win some, you lose some. I'm now going to pick up this Danessa Cross My Kitco MY31, and I'm going to mix Teak and Fog together. So a little bit of this one and a little bit of this one together. Fog was a really big one that did feel, even just swatching, like a lot drier of a formula than the big gold palette. But yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys think, especially if you have both like me. I don't think you, just FYI, if you're watching this to go, do I need both of these palettes? Definitely not. And to be honest, I nearly didn't pick this up even for review because I was like, I know I don't need both of these palettes. They're so similar, and like, I'll be honest, a gold palette is not my fave. It's just not my personal fave. I'm a cool tony, more leaning gal. But I did so because curiosity got the better of me. But yeah, if you're looking at this going, do I need both? If you have the big gold, stick to the big gold personally already, I can tell you that. But I mean, you do you at the end of the day, it's your life. I'll use Intensifiers from Pat on this eye, but not on this eye, so we can test to see what we think of it. Taking a Refy 2, I actually really want to go into Aura because it looks, I don't know if you remember this from the swatch, it looks quite plain, like a plain white in the pan, but in the swatch it's really like duochromy and shifty, and I really liked it. I want to just see what it looks like over the eye on its own. So I'm just going to pop this in here. So this side has no intensifiers, FYI. Looking quite pretty. That is a pretty shade. I like that. Not as oomph and wowing as I thought it would be, so let's see. Oh yeah. Oh gosh, that's me not tapping the excess of my shadow. The intensifiers makes it just so much more impactful. As to be expected, to be honest. Although they does look a lot drier on the lids than I was anticipating, but that could just be my lids at the moment. It is really cold in Australia, like cold for us anyway. Just taking my finger and I'm just going to see what that does to amp it up a little bit. I think in low lighting that'll look really nice. What do you guys think? I was expecting it to look a little bit more wet. What kind of formula is this? Let me just check. It is a sparkling foiled, right? SF, sparkling foiled. I'm surprised it's not more juicy looking on the lids, actually. And then what I might just do is actually take a touch of fizzy here, just on my ring finger, just lightly. Also put it, because I just want a little bit more sparkle. It's not as, yeah, there you go. There's the sparkle. This is the wet sparkle formula, so that's better. Look at that. Much better. Just taking that My Kitco brush with the Teak and Fog, married on it, not really got any much extra color, and I'm just going to marry out here. I'm actually going to leave this here. I'm liking how that's looking. I normally do a speed through of my base makeup, but I am going to do a couple of little side reviews, inception of videos, if you will. So I am going to be back in 2 seconds with my base makeup on, and we're going to finish the lower lash line together. So let's do it. So I have done up to foundation, powder, and brows. So I don't have bronzer or anything on. I've also put the Chanel Contour Clair like eyeliner in my lower waterline and the Victoria Beckham brown cocoa liner in my top waterline. I'm going to take my Sigma E36 and go into Aria right here and run that underneath the lower lash line. I'm going to take the smallest amount of fog on a Refy 3 pencil brush, just lightly tease that under here. And then for my inner corner, I'm actually going to just take this Milko matte shade on a pencil brush from What's Up Beauty. We'll just do a matte inner corner because why not? I am going to put on my Refy mascara. So our eyes are finished. I think they look absolutely beautiful. I really do. It's a very wearable look if you ask me, just personally. And normally I would do like highlighter and blush and everything with you guys, but again, Inception video reviews, that kind of a thing, I'm going to skip it. But I want to tell you guys about the Golden Glimmer gloss and whether or not I think you should get it. And I'm just going to go ahead and say absolutely not. I hate this thing. I'm so upset that I paid $53 for it and I cannot return it. So I will put it on. So to look at, it is a very pretty gloss. It is very pretty. I think it actually looks gorgeous on the lips. Here's why I like it. One, it has that real weird, plumping, spicy, chemically smell and taste as well, but more so smell, but it is taste, like kind of like the Fenty Beauty Heat glosses. I don't know if you guys remember or felt the same way about them, but the smell and like the taste of them was not for me, and it was quite spicy. So it's a plumping gloss, but it's not one of the like minty cooling kind of plumping. It's like a spicy, peppery, mini chili type plump, at least for me. The plump isn't the worst part about the gloss. I can handle it. It's not my favorite. I do prefer more of a cool mint plump. I don't enjoy the burning type plump. Apart from the chemically taste and smell to it, the biggest thing I hate about it is the glitter in this is like chunky glitters, and it drives me wild and it hurts my lips. Like, it just feels super cruddy. At least mine does. I don't know if everyone's feels that way. Yeah, so this isn't for me. If you are someone that likes a real spicy plumper and you don't mind the glitter specks in your gloss, like, you might enjoy it. But for me, it's just all of those three things combined is like absolutely not, especially when I have other glosses that don't do this and look just as nice. Like I said, on the lips looks beautiful, but just the experience of it, no. And it really does dry my lips out as well. So yeah. This is a firm no from me, like absolutely not. Don't recommend it in any way, shape or form. And if I could, I'd give it back. I really would. All right, I'm gonna go and finish the rest of my face and we'll come back and I'll tell you my thoughts on this palette. Alrighty, my friends, this is the complete finished makeup look. What do you guys think? So I have the Lancome Teint Idole bronzer and highlighter on my face. Review is coming shortly. I also mixed the REM blushes in the shades Rose on Mars and Peach Planet. I just mixed these two shades together and used them as my blush. And then my lips is Sweet Fig from Lisa, the new balms that she released, which is also a review coming soon. So stay tuned very shortly after this video, sorry. Okay, so finished look. Now, this has come out absolutely beautifully. To me, this look is stunning, right? Absolutely gorgeous, very soft and wearable and everyday. And this palette is very beautiful. Mine looks so beaten up and gross now, but we'll just ignore that. Like, this palette is beautiful, right? If you are someone that this color story is your favorite kind of color story, or a color story that you lean into regularly, you can't go wrong. It is the Natasha Denona quality you know and love in terms of like her Midi formula especially. It's beautiful, it's high quality, it's lovely, right? Here's my cons. You are going to get quite a lot of similar vibing looks. You will need to bring in other palettes from your collection if you have them, or other shadows from your collection if you have them, to create like diverse looks. That might not be a problem for you though, because maybe on the everyday this is just something, these are the colors that you wear. You don't need anything else outside of that, in which case happy days. If you're someone that does like that diversity in your looks though, if you have other palettes, you will just need to bring in other palettes. Is that a bad thing? I guess not really, because if you do have other palettes, you want to get as many use out of them as you can, right? So You might want to use them all together. The other thing is with Natasha Denona Midi palettes, you can pop these pans out and like interchange them. So you could, if you have a couple of her other Midi palettes, you could like swap and mix some of the shades to create like your perfect kind of palettes between them. So that's, you know, that's up to you. In terms of the quality of this particular Midi palette versus the bigger gold palette, I don't know if this is just me. I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts, and I haven't watched any reviews. I'll be honest, I'm sure there's a heap of reviews comparing these two. I haven't watched any of them. I haven't had time lately, but I would be interested if you guys, any of you guys picked up, have both of these and what you think. I think the quality of this one, maybe not in every single shade, but most of the shades, I do think the quality of this one is better. Like, is more luxe feeling and just a bit more unique and just stunning. Is this bad? No way. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely. Had I never tried this, I'd be like, oh my god, this is amazing. But it does feel a little different. I don't know if it's just mine. I don't know if I've got that perception. Like, if that perception is wrong and I just feel that way. I don't know if it is, but I do think that the original gold palette formula is more luxe and just that extra little bit perfection. This is still beautiful. In no ways do I think that this is a terrible quality palette, but I wouldn't say that out of all of my Natasha palettes, this is one that I am raving the most about. I also think that the Natasha Denona Yucca palette and the I Need a Nude palette, I don't know, those formulas also feel a little bit more luxe to me. Maybe that's just me. I just was surprised like this metallic wasn't as like intensely wet or sparkling as I thought it was gonna be, and what her other ones are in those other two palettes. So I don't know, again, could just be me. That's just my thoughts. So if you already own the big gold palette, unless you are desperate for the shades that you don't own in this one, I don't think you need to pick this up at all. I honestly would not do it. That's what I'm doing it for science for you. But if you have the big gold palettes, personally stick with the big gold palette. It is better in my opinion. I also like the diversity of color in that palette a lot more. If you missed out on the big gold palette and the shades, like the teal shades, so for example, if you are not fussed about these 4 shades right here in particular, and you actually wanted this palette for these, then yeah, absolutely go ahead and grab this Midi palette. It'll be everything you want and more in that respect. But if part of the appeal of the big gold palette is those 4 greeny tealy shades, you're going to be probably a little bit disappointed picking this up because it doesn't have anything like that in here. That's when you're going to want to also pick up like soft glam retro or like yucca or something to bring in those nuances. But if you're just looking for a straight gold warm tony type palette or neutrally type palette, then this is perfection in that sense. I personally would recommend I Need a Nude over this. However, I know I Need a Nude didn't suit a lot of skin tones, so maybe this suits your skin tone more so. That's going to be up to you. So that is it. That is my 2 cents. Hopefully that was helpful in some way, shape or form. Let me know your thoughts down below. I know a lot of you have already picked it up. What are you thinking? Are you going to pick it up? Where are you at? Let me know. Now, if you have made it this far, you know you're an absolute legend. Thank you so, so much. Extra special shout out to my Lily absolute legends. Oh, you guys are amazing. Thank you for supporting my channel as well as all of my other members. And I hope you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world. And I will see you next time. Bye.